From KSI fighting with Tommy Fury with non-stop clinching,
This fight to be solved over 5 rounds, 6 rounds of that one.
to Dr. Mike throwing sharp right hands that had iDubbbz wobbling on his feet.
Swinging, but the defense is not there.
Legs are starting to go.
They're trading right hand.
Oh, another right
Right with Dr. Mike, big right hand. And here comes iDubbbz back. And he's wobbly.
No quit.
Right hand, Dr. Mike.
To a match so controversial, it had fans calling it the biggest robbery in YouTube boxing history. These are the most loved and most hated boxing YouTube matches in history. Starting with KSI versus Tommy Fury. On October 14, 2023, at the Manchester Arena, he finally stepped into the ring with Tommy Fury, a legit pro boxer and the half-brother of world champ Tyson Fury. The hype was huge. The whole event was pushed like it was the biggest influencer fight of the year. From the opening bell, both guys came out swinging, but it didn't last long. What started as a boxing match quickly turned into what fans jokingly called a hugging contest. Almost every round was filled with clinches, awkward tie-ups, and barely any clean exchanges. KSI started strong, landing a big overhand right that made Fury stumble. Fury even got docked a point early on for hitting behind the head. But aside from a few moments, most of the fight felt slow, messy, and honestly kind of hard to watch. After 6 rounds, the judges gave the win to Tommy Fury by majority decision.
57-56 to the winner by majority decision, Tommy Fury.
But that was later changed to a unanimous decision after a scoring error was found. KSI was furious. He called it a robbery on live TV and said right away that he'd appeal. But the backlash came fast, and this time most of it wasn't even in his favor. A lot of fans didn't buy the idea that KSI should have won. Between the contest clinching and the lack of clean shots, people felt like he spent more time hugging than fighting. It got memed hard. People were counting hugs per round, with some claiming there were over 70 clinches total. One fan even joked KSI would quit boxing and go pro in competitive cuddling. Others weren't just disappointed, they felt scammed. A lot of people questioned if the judges were biased or if the outcome was fixed. KSI's team did appeal the result, but a few months later it was officially rejected because of the non-stop clinching, awkward exchanges, and a result almost nobody agreed on. This became one of the most hated and probably one of the most memed boxing matches of all time. But KSI's fights haven't always been like that. In fact, just a few years earlier, he was part of a match that had the opposite effect. On November 9, 2019, at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, Logan and KSI stepped into the ring for a rematch that had the entire internet watching. The energy was massive, and once the gloves touched, the fight turned into 6 rounds of heavy swings, missed shots, and moments that had the crowd on edge. KSI came out aggressive, throwing more punches early on. Logan looked cautious, saving the energy but landing some clean shots later. Round 4 took a turn when Logan landed an uppercut and followed it with another shot while KSI was falling.
Yeah, but the reason this fight, these guys are well conditioned. You can't fight at this pace for this long. Even big uppercut! Big uppercut for Logan into his corner. He's complaining.
It was an illegal punch that led to a 2-point deduction, and that penalty changed everything. When it was all said and done, KSI won by split decision. 2 judges had it for KSI.
56-55 to the winner by split decision from the United Kingdom, the Nightmare, KSI!
The final scores: 57-54, 56-55 for KSI, and 56-55 for Logan. KSI and Logan actually hugged it out after the fight. Respect was shown, but not without Logan complaining about the point deduction. He even appealed the decision, though it was denied. This fight split people down the middle. Some fans absolutely loved it, to the point that they felt like they were watching a real, high-stakes boxing event. For them, this was peak YouTube boxing. The entrances, the press conferences, the energy in the arena, it all felt bigger than just a fight. Some even still call it the best influencer match of all time, but not everyone was sold. On the flip side, a lot of people were frustrated. There were loud complaints about biased commentary, with some saying the broadcast team favored Logan far too obviously. Some viewers even said they lost respect for the event entirely, seeing it more as a business than a sport. But others outside the sport had KSI and Logan's back. Fighters like Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, and Deontay Wilder gave them props for training hard, showing up in shape, and bringing in a new crowd to boxing. And because of all that, this match became one of the most loved fights YouTube boxing has ever seen. Logan had his moment in the ring with KSI. But what about his brother Jake? He was lining up a big match of his own, and it ended up being one of the most controversial of them all. And that was his fight with Mike Tyson. The fight happened on November 15, 2024 at AT&T Stadium in Texas, following a delay caused by a medical complication Tyson experienced due to an ulcer flare-up earlier that year. Despite the setback, the fight moved forward, and once it started, things were pretty active at first.
He just landed the overhand right, testing the beard of Paul early.
Paul has hit him too, so they both are trading punches.
But it quickly became obvious that Tyson, while still strong and focused, didn't have the same stamina he once did. By round 2, he was already slowing down.
58 doses.
The first round he's won in more than 2 decades.
Yeah, I don't like Mike's legs.
And Jake Paul kept pressing on. The fight went the full 8 rounds, each only 2 minutes long, and in the end, Jake Paul won by unanimous decision.
After 8 full rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for the official decision. Judge David Yakubuchi sees the contest 80-72, while judges Lawrence Cole and Jesse Reyes see it 79-73. Declaring your winner by unanimous decision, Jake El Gallo Paul!
He bowed to Tyson after the final bell as a sign of respect, and the two embraced. Surprisingly, Tyson said afterward that he's not retiring, and even called out Jake's brother, Logan Paul.
The last time for you?
I don't think so.
You've got more in you. Who comes to mind?
Well, I don't know. Maybe his brother.
You want to fight Logan?
Logan fired back with a cheeky, "I'd kill you, Mike,"
I'll kill you, Mike. No, please, no.
which instantly stirred things up. Some commenters said Logan had a chance to be humble, but went the opposite direction. All the trash talk aside, the money was just as insane. Jake took home a reported $40 million, and Tyson got $20 million. That's a lot of bucks. It was also a historic night in streaming. 65 million people watched live on Netflix, making it the most streamed sports event ever at that point. But behind the paychecks and hype, the cracks were already showing. The age gap between Jake and Mike lit up the internet, and fast. Jake is 27, Tyson is 58. That's a 31-year difference, the biggest in pro boxing history. Fans and fighters didn't hold back. Many called the match unfair, some called it unethical. Sean Strickland said it should be illegal. KSI called it elderly abuse. One viral comment summed up the no-win dynamic of fighting a 58-year-old. Another joked Jake's next opponent might be Joe Biden. Even with all the backlash, Tyson still earned respect from a lot of people. One comment summed it up: the fact that Iron Mike kept his guard up for all 8 rounds at age 58? That's impressive. Tyson clapped back at critics, saying age doesn't define him, and here's his response.
For this, is that a fair statement?
Hey, listen, you can't compare me with other people my age, because other people at my age haven't been training as long as me, consistent as me, and I'm just a different species of human being.
How so?
I think because I'm very active in what I do. I don't sit around doing nothing. I'm just very active.
Jake backed him up, calling Tyson a killer and a warrior, and insisting the fight was real and earned. But the drama didn't start in the ring. It began long before the fight itself. At the weigh-in, Jake stepped on Tyson's toe. Maybe on accident, maybe not. Either way, it was a bad move, especially since Tyson has foot issues. Tyson didn't let it slide. He slapped Jake later, saying, "I had to reciprocate." And just when things couldn't get more questionable, the event itself started falling apart. Netflix ran into major streaming issues. Thousands couldn't watch live due to constant buffering, and even the in-ring interviews were a mess thanks to broken audio. Soon after, people started saying the whole fight was staged. A so-called fight script started making rounds online. Clips started circulating, Jake tilting his chin up, almost daring Tyson to swing, while Tyson appeared to be pulling his punches. Then Jake made it worse by admitting that he was actually holding back. Still, officials and his team denied any rigging, saying it would have been illegal. Because of all the backlash, doubt, and controversy, this fight is now one of the most hated matchups in boxing history. But while Jake was dealing with the fallout, someone else had unfinished business. Someone he'd already left behind. And Gibb, coming off a rough loss to Jake Paul, stepped back into the ring hungry for redemption. And this time, he wasn't getting an easy matchup. Taylor Holder was the TikToker everyone thought could actually fight. From the opening bell, it was pretty clear. Gibb came to fight.
For Gibb.
Oh, so you bet on Holder?
I bet on Holder, yeah.
Okay.
He was all over Taylor, pushing the pace, landing shots, and dominating the exchanges.
Ask Gibb, and if Gibb tires out, we could have a switch later on in the fight. But for now, I got Gibb.
Well, every time Taylor Holder...
Round after round, Gibb kept control. Viewers online were already celebrating what looked like an easy win for him. And then the scorecards were read.
Here are the judges' results for this sanctioned exhibition match. Lorenzo Hunt scored the contest 49-46. Coach Chuck scored the contest 49-46. And Keon Wilson scored the contest 50-46. The combined scores put the bout in favor of a majority draw.
A majority draw, and everyone was confused. Even the official numbers didn't make sense. 49-46, 49-46, and 50-46. Those are the kinds of scores you see when someone clearly wins. So how did that turn into a draw? Fans were furious. People online called it one of the worst robberies they'd ever seen in influencer boxing. Many felt the event was rigged and were especially pissed that Taylor didn't throw any punches and still got a draw. Even announcers and fighters called it out. Michael Buffer questioned the math. Fauci, who announced the result live, said he didn't agree with it either.
I read what what winner was announced, okay? So a lot of people saying that I chose the winners, I did this, y'all tripping, man. Y'all tripping. Y'all, the truth will all come out. Y'all will see everything. I hope y'all had a good night. I love y'all so much. I want to say shout out and respect to every single fighter.
Taylor himself admitted the draw didn't seem fair, even though he stood by his effort. Gibb, on the other hand, was livid. He didn't feel cheated. He said it straight. I got robbed.
Freaking result, man. A draw? Like, I didn't think it was a draw.
They robbed me. They robbed me in away soil. It was probably because it's he's friends with the main event. I got robbed. I felt like I won every round. I know I won every round.
In interviews after the fight, he made it clear he believed he won every round and called the decision disgusting. A few days later, the truth came out. ISCA, the governing body for the event, admitted there had been a human error. The fight wasn't meant to be officially judged, but somehow the judges still submitted scores, and the result got confused. On June 14, the decision was officially overturned. Gibb won by unanimous decision, and just like that, the internet flipped. From outrage to celebration, fans felt like justice had been served, and Gibb finally got the credit he earned in the ring. The reaction was a mix of relief anger, and honestly, some deep frustration about how the whole thing was handled. Still, once the decision was corrected, a lot of fans praised the outcome and gave props to Gibb for staying vocal, staying strong, and backing it up in the ring. But even with the result overturned, the damage had already been done. The way it was handled, from the confusing scoreboards to the delayed correction, left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. It didn't just feel like a mistake, it felt like a setup. And for that reason, this fight, despite how clearly one-sided it was, ended up going down as one of the most hated influencer boxing matches ever. The whole thing left fans frustrated. But it wasn't the first time influencer boxing stirred up debate. Long before the controversy around Gibb, and even before KSI stepped in with Logan Paul, he had another fight. That one was against Joe Weller on February 3, 2018 at the Copperbox Arena in London. That fight didn't just come out of nowhere. It came after months of diss tracks, Twitter beef, and press conferences that kept getting more heated. At the start of the match, KSI came out aggressive.
JJ, another jab by JJ. Joe not answering. Joe hasn't thrown a punch yet. Joe needs to start throwing.
Landing jabs and heavy shots early, while Weller barely threw anything in the first round. As the fight went on, KSI used his reach and pressure to stay in control, busted up Weller's nose, and kept him backing up. By round 3, the ref had seen enough. After standing count and another flurry from KSI, the fight was stopped.
Oh, that is not.
The sidemen rushed in.
Joe away from all of
Joe's team surround him.
KSI won by TKO and the crowd went nuts. Even Weller admitted it. KSI deserved the win. The result wasn't controversial. Everyone could see KSI ran the show. But what really got people talking was the commentary. Fans pointed out how the commentators sounded super biased toward Weller, barely reacting when KSI landed clean shots, but hyping up every little thing Joe did. A lot of people felt the broadcast was working overtime to make Weller look good, no matter what was happening in the ring. That didn't sit right, especially since KSI was clearly in control from start to finish. Not everyone took the event seriously either. Some called it a gimmick or a joke that two YouTubers were even boxing. Others dismissed it because of the headgear and amateur rules, saying it wasn't a real fight. But still, the post-fight respect between KSI and Weller after all the trash talk actually felt real. And to this day, that match is remembered as one of the most iconic and loved fights in YouTube boxing. 4 years later, a fight no one expected would become one of the most respected moments the scene had ever seen. It happened in 2022 at the first ever Creator Clash. Both fighters were stepping into the ring for the first time. Their backgrounds couldn't have been more different. One was a real-life doctor with years of boxing under his belt, Dr. Mike. The other, the guy who organized the entire event and still suited up, iDubbbz. They showed respect going in, but once the bell rang, Dr. Mike came in swinging.
God. Big right hand. Dr. Mike is swinging to put him to bed.
Dr. Mike is going to be dangerous early. There's that overhand that we were wondering about, we were talking about.
Like he had a prescription to fill. Right from round 1, Dr. Mike used his size and power to stay on the front foot. He landed heavy right hands, kept walking forward, and pushed iDubbbz around the ring. But credit to iDubbbz, he never went down. He took some big shots, stayed on his feet, and kept trying to work the body and sneak in points. The fight was originally supposed to be 4 rounds of 3 minutes, but during the match, that suddenly switched to 5 2-minute rounds, confusing pretty much everyone, including the fighters and coaches.
Guys, I think we might have added a 5th round. That's what I figured. That's what I figured. So we're going 5-2s just like our undercard on the fly.
Still, they rolled with it. In the end, Dr. Mike won by unanimous decision, and most people agreed. He landed the cleaner, stronger shots. One of the most talked about moments came in round 2, when Dr. Mike went in for a glove touch.
Power of Dr. Mike is definitely showing, and he comes out right away. A little bit of a cheeky shot off the glove touch. I don't. Oh, it was a little rough. Not a big fan.
Then immediately followed up with a jab cross combo that caught iDubbbz off guard. Some people called it a cheap shot. Others said Dr. Mike was just protecting himself. Either way, he apologized after the fight and said it wasn't meant to be dirty, just a heat-of-the-moment slip in his first real match.
1-2 combination on Ian. And looking back at it, I understand why they're upset. They viewed it as a cheap shot. I apologize to Ian, to Anissa, to everyone at home, because this is a charity boxing match, and I'm not trying to get some kind of crazy advantage.
Another issue, that mid-fight rule change. Switching from 4x3 to 5x2 threw off everyone's game plan. Dr. Mike even admitted it changed how he managed his energy and timing.
2-minute rounds. I know it sounds like it's just a minute, but I'm telling you, this changes strategy completely. When I had Ian on the ropes, or I thought I had him weak and I thought I could pounce, I didn't necessarily go all out.
Some fans also pointed out stuff like shots behind the head, punches after the bell, and head grabbing, but it was all chalked up to rookie mistakes. Nothing that changed the outcome. Online, the fight sparked a lot of chatter. Some fans didn't like seeing iDubbbz take so much damage and thought the matchup felt one-sided. But most of the reaction, super positive. People praised both fighters for putting on a great show, especially since it was for charity. But years later, iDubbbz would start one of the biggest betrayals YouTube has ever seen, turning his back on fans, friends, and the very principles that built his career.